Hi guys, today I'm playing Garden of Banban. Make sure be careful. This is a horror game. Too much notifications is coming in now.
Yes, I am. You just need to do one thing for me. Have you heard of the toe box?
Yeah! It's summer vacation! Huh? We're getting a new neighbor?
That's delicious. Thanks a lot.
Click me to watch as fully around. Ooh.
Hello, Ian. My name's Ryan.
हर दिन के ट्रेंडिंग इंस्टा रील से सीधा आपके पास get the latest and trendiest styles only from Myntra.
Get first access to the latest trends from the new spring collection only on Myntra.
Sir, you will love the view from the house.
7, 8.
And you paid brokerage for this? Find your next house on no broker. No problems, no brokerage.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है जैसे मैं सबसे बुरी किस्मत लेकर पैदा हुई हूँ। मैं इतनी अनलकी क्यों हूँ? ये चश्मा तुम्हारी आगे की जिंदगी बदलकर तुम्हारी किस्मत बदल देगा।
मुझे अभी एक नकली गर्लफ्रेंड चाहिए। अगर तुम्हारा कोई बॉयफ्रेंड नहीं है तो तुम ही बन जाओ। क्या नुआन को अपना सच्चा प्यार मिलेगा या नहीं, जानने के लिए देखिए
Too much ads.
मीट यू सिर्फ और सिर्फ Amazon मिनी टीवी पर।
Watches the child for just a moment before reaching into a giant bag. Hi, I'm Dr. Bob, and this is SCP-4666, also known as
Yo, my bro is watching the TV right now. It's about to SCPs.
And lived to tell the tale, described him as being very tall, between 2 and 2.3 meters. He also appears to be very old and very thin. He always appears without clothing, even when the weather is below freezing. Though the true extent of his anomalous properties are still unknown, SCP-4666 seems to be able to travel instantaneously to any location on Earth above the 40th line of north latitude, and may actually be able to travel anywhere. Ran from the night of December 21st to the early morning hours of January 2nd. This group is known as SCP-4666's active phase. The encounters with the anomalous humanoid creature have been termed Vice events. During these events, SCP-4666
I'm not. Did you know that I'm not playing on a?
all of which so far have a few things in common. 1. They are all isolated in rural areas. 2. They are in locations with snow that covers the area for the duration of the event. And 3. They are all home to a family with at least one child under the age of 8. In places that match all of those characteristics, Weissnacht events sometimes occur and always follow the same basic progression. During the first 7 nights, the children will report seeing a strange figure within the vicinity of the home. The entity will seem to be watching the home from a distance, such as from across a field or from the edge of a nearby forest. Some children have even reported waking up at night to find SCP-4666 watching them sleep through a window. On nights 8 through 11, other
Guys,
family
but
members will
please
report
tell me
hearing
what's in this
such as
door
footsteps on the roof
over
or in the
here.
attic. A bad-smelling odor will also start to be noticed in the house, but no source of the smell
Or
is ever found.
is there
These
in
strange
there?
occurrences will
And
often
there
lead the
is
family
it
to
just
think their house may be haunted, or that they're being terrorized by a madman. Finally, on the 12th night, one of 2 scenarios.
in there? Is it, or is it just?
Families will often report that they heard footsteps during the night inside of their house. There is never any sign of forced entry, like broken windows or doors. In the morning, the children will find crudely made toys at the foot of their beds.
Is inside here just
This is the end
both
the
of those
Vice-Knock event
rooms
for them.
which cannot be
The
opened,
roughly
right?
85% who experience
Are those
other scenarios
inside
are
there
considerably
just?
less lucky. In the vast majority of cases, the 12th night is a horrible experience. SCP-4666
Or is
still
it
enters
just?
the home on the final night. But rather than leave presents for the children, it incapacitates the family and moves them all into a single
New
room
characters
where it
that they
proceeds
don't
to
want
kill
us
them
to
one by
know
one
about.
in view of the rest of the family. The exact method of killing varies from event to event. There's almost always an element of torture that occurs before they are finally killed, and this torture may serve a ritualistic purpose. The entire family is killed except for one of the children, who is under the age of 8. This child is instead abducted and placed into a giant bag SCP-4666 carries with it. SCP-4666's existence
I forgot
was
to
first
read it
noted
up.
in 1974 by the Foundation's then anomalous signature recognition program, which alerted the Foundation to several suspiciously similar home invasions and murders that occurred
Stinger Flynn
on
says.
January 1st. Further
Stinger
research uncovered
Flynn.
evidence for what was most
Stinger
likely
Flynn
other
says.
Vice-Knock events.
Having many arms allows
Dating
me
back all the
to
way
help
the
a
late
lot
18th
more
century,
people.
with there being on average a little more than 3 events per year. And there's even been evidence of references to what
It
may
does.
be SCP-4666.
Jumbo Josh
dating all
says,
the way
eat
back to the
vegetables
1st and
and
2nd
fruits to
century
become
AD.
strong like me.
Identical fingerprints have been found in all of the houses which match the conditions for Vice-Knock events, and have been matched to a recovered partial print from all the way back in 1873. These fingerprints have characteristics that don't match any known human fingerprints, and the human-like white hairs that have also been recovered do not appear to contain human DNA, or any DNA at all for that matter. In the rare Vice-Knock events where SCP-4666 does not murder the family and gifts are left behind, gifts are anything but normal. The gifts, known as SCP-4666-As, abducted from other homes. In one case, from 2018, at the home of a family in Alaska, a life-size doll made from the body of a female child was left behind. The doll was wearing a dirty dress made from sewn-together rags that was in some places sewn directly to the skin. Her mouth had been sewn shut and painted red with human blood. Another child's fingernails had been glued over her own, and 3 fingers were missing completely. The scalp had also been replaced with another child's scalp and hair like a crude wig. Worst of all, both eyes had been removed and replaced with 2 stones painted into her eyes. The most frightening of all was that the child who had been turned into a doll was somehow still alive. Authorities took the girl to a hospital where she was able to give a brief interview.
Why is Opila Bird's mouth open like this? Opila Bird mission. Opila Bird is unbelievably hungry. Feed it 6 eggs to get your prize. Did you know that there's actually a 7th secret egg? That I know where it is.
The girl, now known to be Ekaterina Morozova, had been abducted 2 years previously in a known Vice-Knock event. She survived for only 18 hours after being discovered. An autopsy revealed many terrible injuries, and the cause of death was found severe sustained malnourishment. SCP-4666 has been classified as Keter and is currently not contained. The Foundation monitors web traffic and law enforcement channels for any evidence of SCP-4666 activity, and especially any potential Vice-Knock events, such as cases of stalking reported during the 12-night active phase, or other strange phenomena at houses with young children. Should a Vice-Knock event be suspected to be in progress, the nearest containment task force is dispatched to attempt to contain SCP-4666 using the standard PDP-8 humanoid first contact protocol. So far, no such containment attempt has been successful. A man wakes up with a start.
Did you know that Opila birds, the key guard from Opila bird is like
He looks around for the culprit, but can't find it anywhere. He really hopes he doesn't have bed bugs. That's the last thing he needs.
is
right
like
now. He'll have to
in
keep his eyes open for potential pests. He doesn't want this to happen again.
from out
since the
that I
spot is
let her
already
see,
starting to itch
he
and
can
feel
see it.
uncomfortable. A couple days passed, though, with no signs of other bugs. It must have just been a random insect
Oh,
that came
right
inside
there.
his house to escape the winter cold. The spot on his hand felt a little rough for a day
I
or
need
two.
a drill.
Now he's pretty much forgotten all about it. Now what he really needs is some coffee before sitting down to another coding session. The man is in his kitchen trying to make a fresh pot of coffee, but finds he's having a hard time. He's not so much making coffee as he is making a mess. He knocks his favorite mug onto the ground, breaking it, and decides that maybe he doesn't need coffee after all. A couple of nights later, as the man is watching TV, he starts to cough. Just a little at first, and then more and more. The coughing fits get longer and deeper too, like they are coming from the very bottom of his lungs. He hopes he isn't coming down with something. He hasn't left the house in days, so how could he have? And bugs transfer colds? He'll have to look it up later. For now, he needs to do something about this cough. He won't be able to sleep if it keeps up. He needs to go get some medicine. The man gets bundled up and heads out. It's lightly snowing as he walks to the pharmacy and can't help but admire the way the moon hangs in the sky. Beautiful beam of light on this dark winter evening. Inside the pharmacy, he finds the cold medicine section and picks out a cough suppressant. He takes it to the counter and decides to get a few candy bars too. He's developed a real sweet tooth these last few days. The man starts to cough again.
ये सब क्या है?
Dress, shoes, bag, and jewelry. Amazon's biggest fashion sale is back.
सेल में टॉप ब्रांड को लेटेस्ट सीजन का फैशन मिलेगा
80% off on top fashion and beauty. Amazon Wardrobe Refresh Sale, 31st May to 5th June. Get 50 to 80% off on top fashion and beauty brands. Sale,
फैशन
Off again. It's a good thing he's getting this medicine.
I already got one.
Several more days pass. The man isn't feeling any better. This cough just won't go away. He decides it's finally time to go see a doctor. As he sits in the doctor's office waiting room, he does his best to hold in his coughs, but he has a very hard time. The woman on the other side of the room is coughing too. Strangely, it actually makes him feel a little better. There must just be something going around. The nurse comes into the waiting room and calls his name. The doctor is ready for him. The man is sitting on the bed in the examination room when the doctor enters. He's looking over his medical records. and
Ooh,
taking a look
sticker.
at his clipboard.
That
Tells the
looks
man to
just
take off his
actually
shirt
like
and
a
take the
note.
exam. The man obliges. Okay, let's see what the trouble is, the doctor says. Finally looks up at the man and screams.
Cotton peel
It didn't take
slowly.
long for the SCP
But
Foundation to hear
Ban's
reports of people's
kindergarten.
metamorphoses
Bring a friend
and
this
exploit appendages. They knew immediately what they were dealing with. This was another outbreak of the parasitic limb-transforming insect known as SCP-150. SCP-150 is an obligate parasite, meaning that it requires a host for the completion of its reproductive life cycle.
But two.
It bears a visual appearance similar to that of Cymophila exigua, another parasite that eats the tongue of a particular type of fish, replacing the tongue with its own body. SCP-150 engages in similar behavior, though it appears to exclusively affect humans. When a human comes in contact with a small bug-like organism,
I got
it will embed
three.
itself under its new host's skin. Next, over the
Four.
course of roughly 7 days, SCP-150 will burrow deep into the host's flesh and begin to
Four
cause
more to
numerous
go, 'cause
physiological changes.
I also need to give
First, and most
secret
prominently,
egg.
SCP-150 will begin a gradual process of altering the limb that is nearest to the original infection site. As SCP-150 burrows deeper and consumes the flesh, it excretes a substance that has the effect of replacing the deep sections of the limb with a hard, chitinous material that resembles one of its own appendages. Beneath the chitin, the excreted substance forms a
Just
rudimentary
here.
nervous system that gives the
Where's
host the
the
ability
key
to
card?
control the new limb as if it were their own. As it feeds, SCP-150 also secretes several chemicals that contain anesthetic, immunosuppressant, and transplant-rejecting properties that keep the host's body from responding to the changes, or even reacting at all.
Ding.
In fact, The host will often report that their new limb is completely normal and feels stronger.
Oh, it's here.
SCP-150 will continue to feed for approximately 1 to 2 weeks, and as it feeds on the nutrients within its host's body, it will begin to reproduce, creating eggs that it deposits directly into the bloodstream. While the majority of these eggs will die off, enough usually survive to begin colonizing other parts of the host's body, where they will hatch and repeat the process of feeding, reproducing, and spreading more eggs. It is theorized that it is capable of reproducing on its own, meaning that a single instance of SCP-150 is all it takes to create a new colony. Humans infected with SCP-150
why is the drone not coming?
discomfort and issues with their fine motor skills during this period, but will usually not express any knowledge of what might be causing them. Eventually, SCP-150 eggs will reach the host's lungs, where the process of assimilating continues, this time replacing the lungs themselves. During this process, more eggs will be produced, laid, and then spread out of the body by the host's coffin. As many as 10,000 eggs will be produced during this period, approximately 1% of which will survive being expelled, find another host, and implant themselves. The assimilation process then spreads to the central nervous system, including the spinal cord and the brain. The host will show no sign.
I got the fourth one. 2 more to go. Nope. Collected.
No signs that their consciousness or behavior have been affected in any way. In interviews with hosts of SCP-150, those who are unaware that they are infected have not expressed any knowledge of changes happening in or out of their body. When subjects are made aware that they have been infected, they will be able to point out the site of the original infection and agree that a change has taken place. They seem to have no ill will towards their new Pegasus appendages and will often express positive feelings about it. In order to better study the effects of SCP-150 under SCP Foundation control, 2 D-Class personnel, D-13732 and D-016002, were both infected with the parasites. The assimilation process was allowed to fully progress through all the stages. Following signs that D-016002 was experiencing swelling of the brain, a decompressive craniotomy was performed, a procedure in which a portion of the skull is removed in order to relieve pressure on the brain. This surgery had the added benefit of giving Foundation researchers the chance to look at SCP-150's progress firsthand. But after a flap of her skull was removed, the attending scientists
And
the brain was swollen.
thank you for 71 subscribers.
Observed numerous instances of SCP-150 in the cavity where her brain should be. The D-Class had been partially anesthetized to numb her skull but remained conscious during the procedure, and the scientists asked her several simple questions to which she was perfectly able to answer. They began removing some of the parasites.
Her name
and as
is
they
right
did so,
here.
her answers became slower and less clear. It appeared that the SCP-150 instances had not just eaten and replaced her brain, they had become her brain. For the next experiment, they would use the instances of SCP-150 that had been removed from D-13732's nervous system after he had been euthanized following the discovery that his entire nervous system had also been replaced entirely by SCP-150.
How
Parasites
can
taken from his brain cavity were placed into D-016002s, and the results were nothing short of incredible. After observing a period of time where the organisms appeared to move and rearrange themselves within her skull, she regained consciousness. Once awake, not only did her cognitive functions immediately improve, when she was asked to state her name, she told them it was Michael, D-13732's name. It is unknown why SCP-150 engages in this peculiar life cycle, but the danger it poses to humans and the difficulty in keeping it contained has led the SCP Foundation to classify it as Keter. Some of the more erudite researchers have taken to calling the parasites the ship of Theseus, a play on the philosophical notion that questions whether something that has had all of its parts replaced is still fundamentally the same, or if it has become something new. Perhaps the observation of those infected with SCP-150 can shed some light on this millennia-old question. Infected patients who are being studied are to be kept in level 3 biohazard containment cells, with never more than one infected host per cell. Cultures of SCP-150 adults and eggs are kept
The
in
end
vacuum
is
sealed
here.
glass flasks in the Site-42 Infectious Materials Lab, and the Foundation's standard pathogen handling procedures are required to be followed at all times. Should any instance of SCP-150 be found outside of containment, it is to be immediately incinerated.
Still ring, huh?
Yep, ringing. Before reaching into the mouth, orthodontic pliers and starting to pull your teeth back into place.
Just say,
Evidently,
like.
indication of the extreme
No.
What?
after what feels like hours of excruciating oral surgery, finally standing outside the dentist's office next to a friend.
Huh?
Come on, show me.
I want to be quiet.
The nervous to send her a picture.
It's too full. That's why.
Just be quiet.
Don't want to see you mistake. But after she asks you again, you decide to take a quick selfie. You send it to her anyway.
This is
Snap a photo of your mangled mouth and jaw. The mess of wires
destruction at work.
crooked teeth back into place with globs of fast hardening epoxy. And the result looks like a low-budget horror movie prosthetic. Send the message in flames. You watch the dots appear that indicate she's read in response. You watch as they disappear.
Didn't meant that to happen.
Back into your pocket, you begin walking back. As you make your way home with your head hung in shame, you keep your mouth shut tight. You don't want to pass your side to see if you can home. You decide to detour through the park to avoid any people as much as possible. You decide to stop at a picnic table next to a small pond. You sit at the table and watch the ducks nibble out from the water. You have it so lucky. Ducks never have to worry about their teeth getting knocked out by a baseball and leaving them looking like a monster. Ducks suddenly all start moving away from your side of the pond, eventually taking flight completely. You get the sense that they're trying to get away from something. When you turn around, there's nothing behind you. Then you get the sense that there is something behind you. You turn again. Still though, there's nothing. It's just you, the picnic table, and the empty pond. You turn back to watch the still water. You can't shake the feeling that there's someone behind you. And turn again.
What does that mean?
Back to the pond. Things standing before you and fall back off the picnic table. You get up out of the dirt. You don't wait to stick around to see who or what this thing is. You start to run as fast as you can. You immediately hear it chasing after you. Instinctively, you take out your phone and start trying to take pictures of whatever it is that's behind you. You know no one will ever believe you. You want some evidence of this thing. You manage to snap off a couple of pictures. You can hear the creature gaining on you. Scream as your mouth begins to ache. Perhaps running this soon after surgery is causing your damaged teeth to shift. Your pain is intense. It starts to feel like your mouth is full of jagged rocks. You feel that it is your teeth pushing out and stabbing into your mouth. Take one last picture before the creature leaps on you, sending you both to the ground, and your phone tumbles into the dirt. Early the next morning, a police perimeter has been set up in the park. The detective arrives and walks past the traumatized-looking jogger who must have been the one that discovered the grisly scene. An officer guarding the site lifts up the police tape. The detective can enter the crime scene that surrounds a body lying on a sheet. The detective asks the officer if they found anything. The officer hands the detective a plastic bag showing his cell phone. The screen is bright. Numerous messages on the screen that from someone trying to apologize for not responding sooner, asking where the phone's owner is, if they matter. The detective opens the phone's camera app and starts looking at the last photos that were taken. It's a strange series of pictures. They seem to all be selfies that a young man was taking as he ran through the park. It almost appears as though there's a figure behind him. It's hard to tell. There's a foggy white vignette in pictures that gets worse the further he looks, slowly closing in until the last photo is nothing but a blurred milky white screen. The detective flips the phone over and looks at the lens, which you can see is completely covered in a hard white substance. The detective places the phone back in the evidence bag and kneels down next to the body. The police officer turns away. He's already seen the victim. Doesn't need to recall. The detective pulls down a sheet and reveals a truly shocking sight. The boy's mouth is covered in teeth, far, far too many teeth. With the teeth throwing out of every part of his gums at horrible angles, filling his mouth and jutting out at painfully odd angles. The could
I
have
know
done
this
this?
color.
What could have done this? The local police department may not have had any idea what the state of this victim meant, but the SCP Foundation did, because they had seen the same occurrence dozens of times before. In fact, they had seen it happen so many times that they had classified this anomalous entity as SCP-4910, but it had already earned a much more ominous nickname in the Foundation. It was known as the Grinner. Very little is known about SCP-4910, and eyewitness accounts of the creature are all extremely brief due to those who have interacted with it quickly succumbing to its effects. What is known is that SCP-4910 is a quadruped. It appears to be made partially, or perhaps entirely, out of teeth. Those who encounter SCP-4910 quickly experience a primary anomalous effect, which is that it causes the extremely rapid overproduction of teeth in its victims' mouths. Existing teeth will quickly increase in size, protruding farther out of the gums than should be able, while new teeth begin to sprout from any available space in the mouth, including the roof of the mouth and underneath the tongue. These new teeth completely fill the mouth, which almost immediately inhibits their ability to speak or vocalize at all. The creature will then use this opportunity to attack and incapacitate the victim before starting to feed. Further adding to the mystery of SCP-4910's appearance comes from the effect it has on any nearby recording equipment. Cameras and other devices that come within SCP-4910's proximity will have their critical components compromised by a sudden appearance of a layer of dentin, which is the calcified material that partially makes up teeth. Interesting now, SCP-4910 seems to possess some level of intelligence, as it appears able to differentiate between normal civilians who it hunts for sustenance, and members of organizations that seek to hunt down and contain or harm it, which it uses for an even more nefarious purpose. While the exact mechanics are still unclear, it seems as though SCP-4910 is able to, in effect, serve the anomalous organization members with its abilities, causing them to act as a vector of the effect, to then spread it to even more victims. This effect is, of course, a concern to the Foundation. Containment protocols for infected victims have been peacefully put into place. If a member of staff begin bearing a grin with too many teeth or multiple tooth-based slides, they are to be immediately immobilized by any means necessary, preferably with a firearm that allows one to keep an appropriate distance and hopefully prevent any further spread of the effect. The infected individual is then treated with a hydrochloric chemical compound that will reduce the afflicted to a pulp-like substance. Once this pulp is no longer handled, it can be transferred to the closest incineration site for disposal. Should a member of personnel have an interaction with SCP-4910 and feel that they were exposed to its anomalous effect, it may be saved by taking immediate medical action. Oral surgery to remove the additional teeth has been found to be effective when the procedure is undergone. The victim will suffer lifelong permanent physical issues.
I hate this.
Unfortunately for the victim, should the infection reach this point, pain management has been shown to be ineffective. Nothing that can be done to alleviate their suffering, save termination. SCP-4910 remains
That was so scary.
has been given the Keter classification. Mobile Task Force Epsilon, codenamed Turpin Black, is the only MTF authorized to respond to sighting. They have been given permission to engage the creature and utilize lethal force if necessary, due to the danger this anomaly presents specifically to the SCP Foundation. A kindly-looking old woman is carrying groceries as she goes home. When she closes the door, a crack forms in the wall, and the child slides down quickly, crashing to the ground in a shadow. The next day, the local builder seems confused. He fixed a similar problem in the window at another house, and another the week before that. He'll patch this crack just like he did before and repair the roof. But as he does so, he can't help but think he'll be at another house with the same problem soon. Oh well, as long as the money is right, we'll keep doing it.
I'm not playing this game. That's all. Actually, I don't quit.
A crack is opened in the ceiling right above her bed. Plaster is
I was literally shaking.
just left to clean the plaster dust off her face. It stops halfway to the bed. Is that a noise she heard? It sounded like it was coming from downstairs. She definitely heard something. Someone crawling
ശരി.
She listens for a moment. When she doesn't hear anything, she opens the bedroom door and screams. The next day, a child stands in front of the house with a look of shock. They're wait, how could a house end up like this? They ring the doorbell, but there's no answer. They knock on the door and are surprised to find that the door is open. Grandma? The child cries into the quiet house. No response. The child enters and looks around. The house is a mess. There's broken glass and shattered light bulbs everywhere. The boy looks up the stairs and sees that his grandmother's bedroom door is open. The light is on. Grandma, are you up there? Still no response. The child nervously starts up the stairs, gripping the railing tight. They quietly make their way to the bedroom and step into the sliver of light coming from the cracked door. The child pushes the door open to find their grandmother on the floor. Only it isn't their grandmother. Whatever this is looks like their grandmother, but like she has been stretched and twisted, her body bent at angles where no joints exist. The child is paralyzed with fear, unable to do anything but stare. But the nightmare isn't over yet, because their grandmother is silent.
ശരി. ഇവിടെ വെച്ചിരുന്ന ബുക്കൊക്കെ എവിടെ? അതാ മേശപ്പുറത്തുണ്ട്.
Causing damage and creating structural integrity issues. These often appear as cracks on the outside of the building that lead to the buildings taking on a crooked.
Laughter is the best medicine to make use to. So make sure to smile. Well, that was the scariest thing.
They are then healed by the rapid generation of cartilage and the growth of extra skin to cover the new elongated limbs, leaving the victims a malformed knot of gnarled extremities. Some of the cases are quite severe, with one victim having just their forearm extended to over 2.4 meters.
Oh wait, did you know that this is a secret?
Despite the gruesome injuries suffered, the majority of victims are still alive following the attacks, though they will more often than not be left completely paralyzed, persistent vegetative state.
Going outside and then go to the cafeteria. For you. That bursted my ears.
The anomaly has become something of a local boogeyman. Researchers have even documented local school children singing in nursery.
Subscribe if you want more.
They even explain the origins of the creature. It goes,
Guys, please subscribe if you want more.
Who made a crooked deal. He kept a crooked cane and his catch a crooked creel. He stole a crooked child who cried a crooked squeal. That crooked little man was broken on the window. A month before a recent SCP-783 activity was to begin.
string is all one lunch.
Good.
Audio and
No
video
lunch.
recording
The
equipment
string now.
is set up throughout the house.
No.
Oh yeah.
Class was
Very good.
targeted in the hopes
String it,
that some
okay?
information
And
would
I'll
be
not
gleaned
have
should
lunch.
something take
Okay.
place.
You get it
43
now.
days after he began living in the house, something finally did. One evening, while in bed reading a book, D209 heard noises on the ground floor of the home. Cameras on the first floor experienced corruption and showed only a distortion moving through the house. When D209 attempted to leave the bedroom and escape the home, they immediately encountered SCP-783. During a period of time that lasted roughly 5 hours, their bones were broken numerous times, set over and over, leaving D209.
I think this is for vacation.
Gone. Strangely, at the exact same time that D209 was being attacked, all 27 of the living prior SCP-783 victims in the hospital experienced violent seizures.
Boarding
Most of them having been declared functionally brain dead, and the rest being totally
Aslan
paralyzed.
Adam.
Also confirming the attack was a seismic event on the outskirts of town.
Class
The
B.
details revealed by this event were both illuminating
Day
and
23,
extremely disturbing.
10,
Foundation personnel were
2016.
dispatched to the site of the seismic
Present
activity to investigate and
at
determine if it was connected to SCP-783 in any way. There, they found a small group of angry townspeople, perhaps frustrated by seemingly unending paranormal events in their town and the lack of progress that had been made to stop them. After a tense standoff, SCP Agent Collins fired her service weapon into the air and quickly scattered. Now, free of distraction, the agents could begin their investigation. They immediately spotted several objects sticking out of the earth. On closer inspection, these were identified as elongated human toes. A dig team was sent to the site, and by the next day, a mass grave had been uncovered that was filled with a twisted mass of what appeared to be victims of SCP-783. Their mutated and drawn-out bodies were well preserved despite being buried directly in the ground, all being buried head down, with their arms extending deeper into the dirt. As one researcher was attempting to take a tissue sample from one of the bodies, the ground beneath him gave way, and he fell into the pit. He landed on a tangled mass of limbs which shifted under his weight, and he disappeared into the pit beneath him. Agent Collins immediately found a length of rope, tied it to her waist, and climbed into the pit with instructions to the on-site team to pull her back up when she signaled. Agent Collins descended into the pit beneath the bodies, and after several minutes, she was extracted, although without the missing researcher. At debriefing, she described how she found an anomalous location under the ground beneath 783's victims' corpses. And she was so rattled by what she saw, she was granted a temporary leave of absence. The Foundation had to know more, and the D-Class personnel was quickly selected for exploration of the underground anomaly. D-2172 was equipped with audio and video recording equipment, along with several scientific measurement tools, as well as a firearm, and was lowered down into the pit by a crane. Their wire tethered to the surface would both send the information they collected back, as well as serve as their output. As D-2172 was lowered past the mass of corpses into the darkness, they experienced a sense of vertigo, before it was realized that the anomalous effects extended to gravity as well, which had become reversed.
Well, is that
And
space?
they needed to start climbing up in order to descend further into the pit. They soon climbed out of the hole surrounded by the reaching, extended arms of corpses. Merged into an open world with an overgrown sky. It looked exactly like the town of the same buildings present there as in our world. The world appeared to be uninhabited though, with no sign of the missing SCP Foundation researcher. D-2172 began investigating the buildings, found them all to be empty as well. They did unfortunately find signs of a struggle in one house, with what looked to be evidence of the missing researcher's demise. They continued exploring the area and found that the anomalous properties of the location extended to its borders to them. And as the D-Class walked north out of the town, after several kilometers, they found that they were now somehow back at the southern edge of the town. D-2172 was building up the but as they walked, they were suddenly impacted by the broken body of an SCP-783. D-2172 literally fired their weapon at the entity. Forced to retreat into the nearby. After several minutes, they stopped to rest. In the distance, the D-Class saw what looked to be a giant white birch tree.
For what?
U-172 turned to run. Firing their weapon at the creature whenever they had made it stop it. The visual feed was soon lost as the audio continued to broadcast the screams of D-212.
Bye. Bye, guys. Subscribe for more fun also.